How do you describe Jim Palmer? Well, movie star, handsome, a great pitcher, a great announcer, probably most of the unique pitching style in Major League Baseball history. The pitcher of the 1970s, the winningest pitcher. But anything else, he's kind of like the forgotten superstar. When I first watched him in the 1970s, I said to myself, this guy was pitching with the Yankees, or even like Chicago Cubs, or any of the East Coast teams. He'd be a friggin', to a level that's not been seen. Now, after he officially retired from baseball the first time, he became the first pitcher in history to win World Series in 3 decades, winning in the 60s with Baltimore and the 70 title, and of course 83. Now, the 17 years between Palmer's first World Series win in the 66 and the 83 victory is the longest period of time between first and last pitching victories in a World Series for an individual pitcher in Major League history. He also became the only pitcher in Major League Baseball history to have won World Series games in 3 decades. Also, Palmer became the only player in Orioles history to appear in all 6 of their World Series appearances to date. 66, 69, 70, what they won, 71, when he lost to Pittsburgh, 79, he lost to Pittsburgh again, in 83. Now, Palmer was the only Orioles player on the 83 title team to have previously won a World Series. He retired after being released by Baltimore during the 84 campaign. This was his first retirement. He retired with a 268, 152 win-loss record and a 2.86 ERA. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1990's first year of eligibility. But I think he should be also considered as a broadcaster. Now, while still an active player, he did color commentary for ABC in their coverage of the 78, 80, and 82 LCS, the 81 ALDS between Oakland and Kansas City, and the 81 World Series. From 85 to 89, he formed an announcing team with Al Michaels and Tim McCarver at ABC. Palmer announced the 85 World Series, where he was supposed to team with Michaels and Howard Cosell, whom Palmer had worked with on previous year's ALCS. McCarver replaced Cosell for the World Series at the last minute after Cosell released a book called I Never Played the Game that was critical of the ABC sports team, pretty well everyone. The team of Palmer, Michaels, and McCarver would subsequently go on to call the 86 All-Star Game, and that year Palmer worked with Michaels on the ALCS, while McCarver teamed with Keith Jackson on ABC's coverage of the NLCS, the 87 World Series, and the 88 All-Star Game, as well as that year's NLCS. Now, he was present at San Francisco's Candlestick Park during Game 3 of the 89 World Series when the earthquake in Lorna Prieta hit prior to Game 3 of the set. After the 89 season, ABC lost his contract to broadcast baseball to CBS. Palmer had earned $350,000 from ABC that year for appearing on around 10 regular season broadcasts and making a few postseason appearances, which would make him the richest announcer, color commentator at the time. In 1990, the LA Times reported that Palmer was thinking of pursuing work as a major league manager. Instead, he worked as an analyst for ESPN and a broadcaster for Orioles games on their local telecasts on WMAR and Home Team Sports. Now, in 91, he attempted to come back with the Orioles. He explained in his 96 book, I wanted to see if it could be like Nolan Ryan was to the game or what George Blanda was to football. ESPN, which was trying to cut expenses, had asked him to take a pay cut and to sign a 3-year deal. Palmer said he would sign a 1-year contract for less pay, but ESPN refused. I wouldn't be here today if the broadcasting climate had been more to my liking. That was really my prime motivation, the fact I no longer had that obligation. Now, covering Palmer's spring training workouts, Sports Illustrated said that his comeback was not entirely about money. He wrote that it is fair to suspect that a certain vanity is involved. Now, Palmer gave it up when he said basically the best I could do in pitching was 80 and the previous was 95. Now, while working at the University of Miami during his comeback attempt, he was approached by Miami assistant coach Lorenzo Collazo. He told him, "You'll never get in the Hall of Fame with those mechanics." He said, "I'm already in the Hall of Fame." Palmer replied. To help Palmer's pitching motion, Collazo and Palmer completed unusual drills that involved Palmer placing a knee on a foot in the chair as he tossed the ball. Now, he did give up 5 hits and 2 runs in 2 innings in spring training game and then retired for good. Now, when he returned to broadcasting, he returned to ABC, which had a revenue-sharing joint venture between Major League Baseball, ABC, and NBC called the Baseball Network, and he put his stamp on numerous series over those 2 seasons. Now, in July 2012, was a little bit of controversy. He put up for auction his 3 Cy Young Award trophies and 2 of his 4 Golden Gloves. At this point in my life, I would rather concern myself with the education of my grandchildren, he he said. He also noted his autistic teenage stepson would require special care and that my priorities have changed. Palmer had put up for action one of his Cy Young Award trophies on behalf of a fundraising event for cystic fibrosis in years past, although he stated the winning bidder had paid $39,000 and that it never ever took it. It was for the cause. Now, he's the only pitcher again to win World Series games in 3 decades in the campaign. During his 19-year career, he never surrendered a Grand Slam, nor did he ever allow back-to-back homers, but he gave up multiple homers in key games. His career earned run average, 2.856, is the third lowest among starting pitchers whose careers began after the advent of the live ball era. In 6 ALCS and 6 World Series, 8-3, 90 strikeouts, 2.61 ERA, and 2 shutouts in 17 contests. Now, he was a mainstay in the rotation of the Baltimore's teams in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now, with the passing of Mike Cuellar in 2010, he became the last surviving member of the 71 Baltimore starting rotation that included 4 20-game winners. Now, in 1999, he ranked number 64 in the Sporting News lists of the 100 greatest baseball players and was nominated as a finalist for the Major League Baseball All-Century team. Now, a very handsome man, and this is where it got kind of freaky. In the late 70s and 80s, he was a spokesperson and underwear model for jockey brand Men's Briefs, where he was 3/4 naked. He appeared in the company's national print and TV advertisement, as well as billboards at Times Square in New York City and other major cities. He donated all proceeds from the sale of his underwear poster, which you look great, by the way, to the CF Foundation. From 92 to 99, he was frequently seen on TV through the States in commercials for the Money Store, a national home equity and mortgage lender. He has also appeared in ads and commercials for vitamins and other health-related products. He was also a spokesperson for Nationwide Motors, a regional chain of car dealerships. Now, he's also on the advisory board of the Baseball Assistant Team, a nonprofit that's continues to help Major League, Minor League, and Negro League players through financial and personal difficulties. Now, of course, his longtime love is the former Susan Ryan, who he married in 1964. He had 2 daughters with Ryan named Kelly and Ryan. Ryan was not a huge baseball fan, as Palmer recalled. She used to bring her knitting and or a friend who usually liked baseball even less to the contests. Now, 2007, he married a former Susan Earle, who has an adult son with autism. The Palmers have homes in Palm Beach and Corona del Mar, California. In 2006, Palmer also acquired a penthouse condo in Little Italy, Baltimore, which he uses in Baltimore for Orioles podcast. Now, the comparison I make to Jim Palmer, it's almost like he's the Guy Lafleur of baseball, because everybody knows him and everybody knows he's not the greatest of all time, but he's at least top 5 or top 10 for pitchers. Now, currently 79, the right-hander broke in 65 with the Orioles and ended in May 84 for Baltimore. Win-loss record 268, 152, 2,212 strikeouts, 6-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 4-time Gold Glove Award, 3-time AL wins leader, consecutive 75 to 77, 2-time AL ERA leader, no-hitter in 1969, number 22 retired, Baltimore Orioles, and he's in the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame. 92.6 on the first ballot. Now, it's kind of weird, his background too. He started youth league baseball after his adopted father died of a heart attack in 99. Now, at 56, his mother married actor Max Palmer, but Jim continued to go under the name Jim Weeson until a year later. As a Little League banquet just before presented with an award, he asked the coaches to identify him as James Alvin Palmer. Through all these years, that night was a highlight of my life, Max recalled. Max was a character actor, and there were 2 men who shared that name who worked in the show business during similar time periods. The Max, who was Jim's second dad, worked mostly on TV, such programs as Dragnet, Bat Masterson, and the Colgate Comedy Hour. He was Jewish, and he also earned a living by selling shoes. The other Max Palmer, often erroneously credited as Jim's father, worked in several movies as a monster. He was 8'2" and later became a pro wrestler and eventually a Christian evangelist. Now, Jim Palmer is nothing but a consummate gentleman. Him and Earl Weaver never got along, and that's really why I don't like Earl Weaver. Jim Palmer, to me, is the greatest, he's a superstar to me, but he's never claimed himself a superstar. He just went out and he pitched. One guy would say, give me a Jim Palmer. There was only one Jim Palmer. He was consistency is better than sometimes record. He didn't win 300 games, but my God, I saw him playing against the Blue Jays, and we used to get the games on Saturday mornings in French. Not mornings, but after early morning or late. It's not early morning, early afternoon, 2 o'clock. First time I saw Jim Palmer, I said, "Dad, who the hell is that?" Oh, he said, "That's the white Louis Tiant," because Tiant would have that, the spin. But Jim Palmer, what he did for baseball, like automatically say the 1970s, what's a top 10 player? Well, you got the Big Red Machine, you got Reggie Jackson, you got all these great players, but Jim Palmer's and Nolan Ryan are the two pitchers that come to my mind, and Steve Carlton. Can you imagine in heaven, when all is said and done, let's say your top 3 players in the 70s were Palmer, Carlton, and Nolan Ryan. Just tremendous. So Jim Palmer, we never did something on him before. I'm glad we can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our Vintage Baseball podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.